There was really no vision when we started the company. I mean, Renee and I were just really very young. I was 24, she was 20. And we really just wanted to have a store that sold healthy food and we could earn a living doing it. So there was no grand vision. And the visions continued to evolve. I think there's oftentimes a mistake that entrepreneurs they go up on a mountaintop and they get some grand vision and then they come down and execute the vision. I think that's rare. I think the more common experience is that the vision sort of emerges over time, and as you learn more and as you get more experiences. For example, the Whole Foods' purpose has continued to evolve, and it gets more complex and has different levels to it as it unfolds. Most entrepreneurs don't go someplace to get training. They're generally on fire. They're passionate about something, and so it's less of a skill than it is an attitude and kind of a way of being in life. Entrepreneurs are usually in a hurry, and they have some type of passion or something they care about that they want to manifest in the world. Setbacks they're not rare events. They're very common, and you have to view those setbacks as the universe trying to teach you something, to help you evolve and grow as a human being. Because it's not always easy. And if it's easy, you just tend to move along you get complacent, you get self-satisfied. It's the setbacks. Oftentimes, it could be unfortunate events, or it could be competitive setbacks. Competition serves the very useful purpose of forcing you to evolve, forcing you to get better. Because if you don't, you get passed up, and eventually your business doesn't work very well any longer. That business has purpose beyond making money, and that it's very important that business people begin to get in touch with that, and that they begin to communicate that as to why their business exists. Because I don't think most people, the society doesn't legitimize business, and I think primarily because it doesn't refer back to the public good that business is doing, and it's doing an enormous amount of public good, but it's not seen because it's not marketed well, it's not spoken of. At the same time, I don't think there's anything wrong with businesses making money. You cannot live unless you eat, but that doesn't mean the purpose of your life is to eat. Similarly, in business can't live unless it makes money. Money is what it needs, what feeds it, what helps it to change and evolve. And I also think it's important that business do a better job of justifying profits, not as selfishness, not as greed, not as something that's evil, which is oftentimes how politicians demagogue it. They talk a lot about greed, and whereas in fact, business must make profits. Society needs business to make profits. Otherwise, the society is not going to be able to evolve. Questions about the future are always very tricky. I always like to say when I get asked that question, how many people were using Google 12 years ago? No one, it didn't exist. How many people were using an iPhone 5 years ago, or an iPod 10 years ago? Technology continues to evolve, trends continue to change, and the one thing you can be sure of, if you make predictions about the future, you're going to be wrong, because unanticipated, unexpected things always result. So it all depends on how far out we're looking. I am not confident looking more than just a few years out because of that way that trends tend to evolve. I think in the food area, the next big trend, and it's a mega trend, is people are going to begin to see, science has more than begun to prove the connection between diet and health. And since we can't frankly afford medical care on a mass basis, although we've legislated for it, we can't really afford it. And people are going to have to take more responsibility for their health, and diet is the most important way to take responsibility. I think people should care about their food because it's the most basic thing we do. We do it all our lives. I mean, to be alive is to eat. We must eat in order to live. And increasingly, we're aware now that what we eat largely determines how healthy we are, what diseases we get, how long we're going to live, what we're going to die from. Those are completely intertwined with diet. We have 67% of Americans are now overweight, 35% are obese. Over 50% of Americans die from heart disease or strokes. We have type 2 diabetes is a pandemic. Cancer is still knocking off 25% of Americans. And these all trace back to the type of food we eat. And that's a truth that many people are either don't know or they don't want to know, because the guilt of being responsible for the diseases that you have is a truth that most people are not really ready to face up to. So the origins of the food have global impacts in terms of poverty, in terms of environmental issues, in terms of the nutritional value of the food, the impact that it has on livestock animals. As we try to get our meat prices down, we end up doing more and more violation to the integrity of the animals. The more I learn about food, and I'm continuing to learn, I've been on a 30-plus year journey to learn more about health, learn more about food, learn more about the origins of it. It gets more and more complex, and in some ways, part of Whole Foods' job is to make that as simple as possible for people.